How has that shaped up in terms of work? Because a lot of people, and again, we will deal with your current role in much more depth. But one topic which I think a lot of people have interest in is when couples come from similar background, perhaps similar work, and therefore a lot of times work comes home and home goes to work. It could be a great thing. It could perhaps also be problematic. I'll give you an example personally. So Archana and I started our career together. We worked in several locations, on several firms together.
And still she agreed to marry you?
Yeah, imagine. Just imagine how amazingly good I am.
How did you charm her?
How amazingly good I am at convincing people. That's my skill.
Good.
Right? No wonder I'm your counsel. Think about it.
True. I'm lucky.
Yeah, think about it. So, a lot of times people used to ask that, boss, 24 घंटे आप लोग each other की शक्ल कैसे देख सकते हो? आप काम भी साथ कर रहे हो.
Correct.
आप शादीशुदा भी हो गए हो. You're living in the same house. How does that happen? So, one thing that both at Archana and my level, we used to say that, there is no concept of work at home, home at work. The way it is, it becomes fluid after a point of time. आप जब जो ज़रूरत है, you're talking about that at that point of time. If there is a need to talk about work at home because there is some shit at work, you will deal with it. If there is a requirement to talk about some problem of home which needs more emergency, even if you're at work, you will deal with it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're also co-founders, like she and I are, because we took the plunge together as well.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, you both...
Sorry, before that, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You both decided to take the plunge. The norm is that, one of you is a safety net and the other is taking care of...
So that was what the whole world told us.
Yeah.
So, and you know our background, right? We both were heading practices in a large law firm, had our partnership roles, reasonably large salaries. And the whole thought process was कि अगर कूदना है तो आप साथ कूदोगे.
क्यों?
Now I'll tell you why. Because the essence, what people don't realize, and I say this, I actually connote this to a great extent in terms of the ability. The ability of entrepreneurship. If you are looking at the thought process of being a solo founder versus having co-founders, and look at it now as you're an investor, look at it with the investor lens. As an investor, you're always more secure or more perhaps comfortable taking a bet in a portfolio where there is more than one founder than just one solo founder. Most investors are.
I will tell you,
you might be an aberration as always.
No. I'll tell you, for us, the experience has been a mixed bag.
Could be, but that is also about hedging bets to a great extent, because one guy means completely that. For us, the whole thought process was कि logic says one takes safety net,
correct,
takes care of the kitchen, one experiments. But when you know that two people can be the multiplier effect, then logic also demands that you're actually wasting the time value of money. Because you're so sure that when you do things together, the multiplier effect is far higher.
Wow.
So that thought process is also there. And at work, we are co-founders, right? We've always thought through as co-founders.
Nice.
So from our perspective, it doesn't matter in terms of what the spousal relationship. In work, you're working as partners. Zero.
At work?
Zero. Because you have to have verticals which are given to each other. You have to know where your verticals are, who takes care of what. And the moment, and this is an example I give myself, and I've advised so many spouse co-founders, right? So many spouse co-founders are friends of yours and mine mutually as well. And I'm very clear to say that the verticals have to be defined, both internally for your perspective and for investors to know who has to deal with what. Yeah. Investor needs to talk to who for what.
Correct.
A mixed messaging or a mixed emotion can't come in. That's where the confusion starts arising. So for us, it was always the multiplier effect. But coming back now to your...
we can do a whole session with just me asking you questions.
We can do several. And that day you'll have to start your own podcast. I'm sure you'll call it something crazy.
I don't think I can do all this hard work that you have done.
Trust me, you can. As always, you're being modest. But tell me, high performance individuals, high pressure jobs, investors, lot of decisions, lot of accountability, at times conflict, at times not, depending on which sector you are in and how. How do you, and if you have to advise people who may be in similar situations or perhaps are looking at a situation which might happen that way, what has been your takeaway? How do you manage work and home together? Is it been as fluid as it's been for us? Do you have the same philosophies? Do you go across and say that you deal with situations as and when they play out? Or do you have a planned script to it?
I don't think I have a script to it. From what you've heard, clearly I go with the flow, right? So, no, but I'm blessed because Manu happens to be a boarding school guy through and through, right? So he can run this house perfectly well with or without me. I don't think that says much about me, but he can do it. I tease him that he's a Martha Stewart of our house, right? Like he can host a perfect 30-member dinner without flinching. He's that good. But so saying, I hear you say that we are similar industries. Thankfully, we have not overlapped so far. We exchange ideas and notes on how do you guys look at things, like how I would talk to any other professional that way. And he's a far more guarded and grounded individual as an investor as well. I do have a regard for how he looks at certain things. I might not agree to everything he has to say.
You're not supposed to also.
Yeah, right. And I was like, okay, so you have a view and this is how I perceive things. And sometimes we laugh it off saying, yeah, I mean, let's see how this plays out. Sometimes it plays out well, sometimes it doesn't. And we always say that I told you so. And that goes on. But we don't try to bring in the professional aspect in our personal life, right? Like at home, we ensure both of us end up going to office. And when we come back,
Switch
office
off.
work is out there, right? Now we're only talking.
So the only time you're screaming at my team in the evening is the exception.
That is, yes. That is the exception. But I don't scream at them in the evenings, if you've noticed.
Depends on the wine.
That's true. But that also has gone down.
Yeah.
But no, it's like we cut it off, and at home it's only, household work, kids, bacche, chawal,
that takes
khatam ho
the
gaya
whole thought
hai.
process. Yeah.
हाँ, ये खत्म हो गया है, अभी ये order कर दूँ.
The realities of life. True.
And of course, tech has made our life easy. Everything
Yeah.
is on Amazon. So.